First thing you want to do is take the hooks off. And materials you'll probably need is some needle nose pliers, preferably 2 pairs. Some through wire, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch. Some shellac or some polyurethane, and your fishing lure. First, if the glass is all chipped, you could just scrape off the glass with some metal, just pop it all off. Then from there, you could, I guess the easiest way, if you don't have the wire, is to tape off the swivel pretty well, and if you're able to cover that hole, you can cover it up with some tape, and then you can just dip the whole thing in some shellac or some polyurethane and just let it drip dry. The more coats you put on, the more it'll hold up. But if you want to completely take it apart, you can do that too. And to do that, you just get your pliers, bend out the tail, take that off on the tail, shit's off, and then go to the nose, wiggle it a bit. Also, you could just pull off the resin from the tail. Try to straighten the wire, and then you just got to pull this out the plug. You want to save the nose grommet, and you want to try to salvage the tail grommet. That helps protect the wood from getting damaged when you're fighting a fish and when the wire's bending. Then you just take out the swivel, save the swivel, or you could replace it with something of a similar size, or like a Spro, a little bit more heavy duty. Then you have a plug with no wire in it. Like I said, chip off all the paint or the epoxy. From here, you can pretty much repaint it to whatever color you want. Use acrylics, helps a bit, keeps it from melting while it's drying in shellac. But basically, like I said, this little wire, take your plug, you can dip the whole thing in shellac or some polyurethane. You can bend this, hold on a moment, to a way where it can actually hold the plug so you can dip it. So you dip it, let it dry for a day, you can dip it again another day, put more coats on it. Once it's all ready to be rebuilt, you go ahead and take your plug, get your nose grommet, take it out. Put it on your new through wire. Switch this camera. Slide it on. Put it, we'll have the swivel too, shit. Tough part is, for me at least, because these are all hand drilled, is putting the through wire back in and then making sure it goes through. You can actually see it if you have it with you. You can see the through wire in the plug, and you want to make sure the swivel is in and that the through wire goes through the swivel. Or if you miss it, it's going to end up popping out and you're going to fish and you can end up losing your hook. So make sure this through wire goes through the swivel and through the back end of the plug. If you're having trouble putting the through wire through it, through the bottom of it, it's probably because there's lead and that hole is pretty tiny. So to fix that, you get like a 1/8, I think it is, drill bit, and you can take the tail grommet out and just re-drill a new hole in to help let this through wire go through again. You'll be losing a little bit of lead, but it ain't a big deal. It's more of a, this is just good to refinish some old plugs. You can repaint them, shellac them, or polyurethane them, or whatever. And it just helps the life of the plugs a little bit better. Lets you use them more. I usually just do this on shitty old plugs for bluefish. Helps keep them from getting waterlogged. So, get it through it. Should be through the plug. Pull the wire all the way through. I don't put the swivel through it because I don't feel like wasting time and putting the swivel through it at the moment. But then once this is through the tail, pretty much make sure this is straight. I guess perpendicular with the belly grommet and your swivel. So just straighten it up the best you can. And then you want to bend it. You want to bend it straight. Trying to be straight with this. Try to do a straight bend on the back. And just bend it all the way back. Should look like this. Hold it. And with your other hand, just kind of bend it over. It should look like that. And then from there, you kind of bend it kind of straight. Hold it. And then with the other hand, just try to do something like that. And then you just keep bending this wire over and over. Something like this. And then you would just cut this with some wire cutters. And then crimp the rest down, so you don't cut your line. Then once that's cut, like I said, you crimp it down, and then you should have your plug ready to go again for fishing. Like I said, a polyurethane or some shellac. If you're not familiar with those type of products and using them, the instructions are right on it. But yeah, just take it apart, scrape the glass off. You can repaint it to whatever colors you want. I mean, the quickest way would just, like I said, tape the swivel and tape the hole and just dip it entirely and let it drip. Dip it a couple more times. After it dries, put a couple more coats on it to help it last a little bit. But if you want to take the whole thing apart, that's how you would do it. Just make sure your through wire goes through your swivel. And then the tail bend, just do the best you can. Doesn't really make a difference how crooked it is or not. You can always bend it with the pliers. And then just put your split rings on and your hooks and go fishing. So that's about it. That'll work with any through wire plug. I mean, if you want to glass it, that'd be a much longer process. You could always get some glass, some resin, and make it real thin, drip dry it. But then you might get some flooding, like we see some drops dripping. But I mean, the fish don't really care; they're gonna eat it. So that's about it.